I remember a time really ages ago where games used to be made and you would have everything that the developers could create and put into this one game. It wouldn't be a hollow shell that has more content added on later on, or that would ultimately then turn into a sequel. Sometimes these games that are just one-off titles just exists and they flourish and people love them and want more. But sometimes it's good just for these games to exist in a single point in time. I think of things like Spec Ops The Line. Even though I want more of it or a remaster of it, just that game by itself is perfectly well done as it is. Or something like Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Like, again, we won't see another game like that again, or not necessarily again, but like another game as part of like a series or something. I think it's just perfectly fine the way it is. So let's talk about Kirby Air Riders, which technically is a sequel to the game from GameCube, but it's worth keeping in mind that what Sakurai is saying is that, especially part of the 1 hour Kirby Air Ride direct that he did, he's saying that he's thrown everything he can into this, and that it won't get a DLC or sequels. The fact that this game is even happening at all is because fans of the franchise have always been asking for it, and so it's good that they're finally getting it, albeit just so much later down the line. But better late than never, some might say. And of course, there's also going to be a demo later on before the game releases in the month. But that being said, so Kirby Air Riders director Masahiro Sakurai says the game won't be getting a DLC and won't be followed up by a sequel. So he says that Kirby Air Riders will be released as a standalone finished product, according to Sakurai. Concluding an hour-long Kirby Air Riders Direct, which broke down the game in great detail, Sakurai explained that its existence was made possible because fans wanted to see it happen, and the resulting game is the completed work. And now this is going to be 3 long quotes, as you can see, so let's talk it. So, in this day and age, creating a game and bringing it to life takes a surprising amount of effort, he says. Sakurai says, I should say. But I think that's reflected in the final product, so I hope you enjoy it. I do believe the passionate support from fans was a big reason why this game was made. You have to spend time and money to make games, so those wishes aren't always granted. Knowing that, I'm grateful both for the support shown to the previous game, and that thanks to that support and the effort of a great many people, we were able to make this game a reality. Oh, he also added on, just so you know, we're not planning any DLC, everything is here. Also, I'm not planning on making this an ongoing series. I've thrown everything I have into this game from the start, so I hope you don't miss this opportunity. It's going to be very sad when, like, 20 years down the line, Nintendo isn't bringing back old Switch 2 games when they're making Switch 69 and whatever games are going to be on there, leaving old games behind as it is. It was also confirmed that during the Direct that, there's going to be a global test ride, which will take place from the 8th to the 9th and 15th to 16th of November. The game's going to be released on Switch 2 for November 20th at $70 or £60. And it's going to be interesting to see how things go. Will there be a general sense of positivity around the game, especially during that time? But also, I think more importantly, the reason why I'm making this video is basically to talk about how games used to be made. The fact that Sakurai himself is kind of just saying, hey, everything that I had is in this game, is how games used to be made. And for people who don't remember this, or rather, people who are too young to have ever known, when games were fully complete, you really had, you felt like you had something really special that you were sitting down and playing, especially if you really, really enjoyed it. And sometimes some games exist as something in a moment of its time. When I go back and play old, I was actually, so just to kind of provide some context, I was playing some of the Kirby Air Ride, I think it's called on GameCube. I was playing that, and I could see a lot of really cool stuff, but obviously the game has aged quite a bit. Is it still as good? I haven't played enough to be able to give you a good conclusion, but I think that it hasn't aged particularly well. That being said, though, it's still fun to play. So for him to kind of, for Sakurai to come out and say, hey, everything that I could possibly do is here, and I likely may never make another Kirby Air Ride game ever again, is kind of a sad thing to hear, but also it kind of makes sense to some extent, and I don't blame him for saying that. And the fact that fans were the people who, basically got him to make this game, it's cool to see that he's actually like kind of listening to the audience, even though how many people here have played the original Kirby Air Ride? Probably not a lot, given that that game came out over 20 years ago, I want to say, somewhere along those lines. Yeah, it was definitely about 20 or so years ago that this game previously came out. So I think that it's definitely a lost art form to have games be made in a fully functional state and have all the content that you could ever want thrown in there in a single game. No additional purchases, no additional transactions, no additional DLC. You're not waiting for more content, because when you buy the game and you start playing it, it works right then and there. There are no bugs, because obviously when games are shipped out on discs, you can't just, patch it in again, because, patch culture was never a thing during the PS2, Xbox, and I want to say the GameCube generation. Though during that time there were some Xbox games that did have DLC, like Doom 3 for example, but more specifically it was really more of a case of like, hey, whatever you got is what you got, and you enjoyed what you had, and when you were done with it, you either enjoyed it or you didn't like it and stopped playing partway through. But at the end of the day, that's kind of what gaming was. And the fact that there wasn't any, free-to-play games back in the day all that much, you actually had to pay for the games that you were buying. Physical media was the way to kind of disperse games back then. Yeah, of course, digital storefronts are a nice way of being able to do that, but due to the lack of ownership and the fact that it just exists purely because people are willing to pay for the convenience of being able to buy those games, but also the fact that prices of games have gone up, despite the fact that digital distribution was supposed to decrease that price, despite the fact that that was kind of how things were pitched initially, and we should have known back then better than to trust the gaming industry in any way, shape, or form. But I just think that this is a great thing that Sakurai is saying, that he's doing, and that he is presenting to us as gamers. I think that that is a great thing to do. So I actually do kind of want to hear your thoughts about this as an old man that is talking off into the void that is known as the internet/YouTube. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this whole way that Sakurai has presented himself, this game, and what might happen moving forward? With all that being said though, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by end of the year. And with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.